So you're doing everything right. Modeling successful ideas, making the thumbnails before the video, and most importantly, you give so much value to the point when at times it feels like you shouldn't do it. And it doesn't work at the end, even when you believe you're doing everything right. So, what if I told you that you might have been tricked? You're not the only one who knows how to come up with good ideas and thumbnails. After all, it's like they're abundant nowadays and they're more accessible. Once a trend spreads, soon everyone adapts it. And in this video, I'm showing you exactly how to stand out like an actual brand, unlike most of your competitors. Hi, I'm Eddie, and I help industry experts build a YouTube brand with the goal of growing their business. So, before revealing the systems, this video is frankly about your struggles. The low return on investment that your videos get even when doing everything right. It's not that what you've learned about coming up with ideas or making videos in general doesn't work. It's more nuanced than that. Look, trying to stand out by doing exactly what everyone else is doing isn't the right solution. It's become easier to figure out great thumbnail ideas and video formats thanks to how the industry has evolved. The advice available, as well as tools like 1 of 10 or vidIQ, which ultimately led to more competition. Think of it like we solved the previous problems, but more problems arise. It's more like being smart, but at the same time, standing in a room full of smart people. Being smart is no longer unique, and you'd have to work harder now. Modeling successful content almost always resulted in some success. It's like you could literally copy the thumbnail style and the editing style and like the video idea and get decent results. Talking from experience here. You can literally copy and paste someone else's video and still works. But now everybody knows that and it's a bit harder. In fact, if you're the one to come up with a successful original idea, you should quickly double down on it because everyone will follow you soon after. So, how do we solve this problem? Well, there are levels to this grab. One, two, three. The first one is to try not to take inspiration from your niche at all. Now, this is exaggerated, but I'll explain. This is the simplest and still effective to varying degrees. And of course, when talking about inspiration, it's not just ideas. It's also the editing style or, the way you present the video and everything around that. The reason why this works is that you're not constantly looking at everyone around you, like 99% of other competitors. For example, Alex Hermosi sounds original because he and his team don't even look at other business content, which is crazy. As we see, creating varying content and even coming up with trends that other people started, kind of like modeling after. And don't get me wrong, it's still good to have a sense of what your industry is doing. But after a point, you know that you kind of become like the people you consume. Now, this still may not work. Of course, there is the way you execute the video and thumbnails and many other factors, but there's one that I'd like to pinpoint, especially if you're related to the business niche. The reason why this may not work is that every person you're competing with may be taking inspiration from the same adjacent niche. For example, for me, I know that people in my space are taking inspiration from the finance or business niche. So look at something else, maybe like gaming, fly. Of course, it's going to be a little bit harder to adapt things, let's say, for example, from the entertainment space, but it will give you another perspective. And speaking about adaptation, the second level is adaptation. You see, overcopying from one source isn't the solution. For most of us, we know that nothing is 100% original. As a reminder, Picasso said, good artists copy, great artists steal. These AI tools available to us and all the advice and techniques, and even today, depends on how we use them. Even the most famous viral YouTube idea software 1 of 10 frames their tool as a source of inspiration. These are screenshots from their website, as you can see over here. And frankly, yeah. For example, this video is about like clear ketchup, and this is the thumbnail inspiration, taking like an object and let it be the center of the thumbnail. Boom, a killer concept. Of course, let's not mention how the video should be well executed for this to work. This video, kind of like in the same space as I am, how to create a killer YouTube video. to blow up your channel. This is kind of a similar idea, but how to create killer hooks, irresistible hooks to blow up your content. This tool is great to identify outlier formats across many niches with a similar target audience, making ideation easier. The catch is that you should probably combine inspiration. Most people tend to copy the same idea with the same thumbnail from the same niche they're in. Again, it's not that it doesn't work, but it's becoming harder and harder. However, one thing that's very important is to make a thumbnail or a sketch before the video so you can validate it. This is a pretty much known idea at this point that Mr. Beast kept preaching. And it's really good. However, there's no tool in the space that allows you to test the thumbnail before making the video. Yes, there's something like thumbsup.tv or clickpilot.app, but that just allows you to see how the thumbnail looks, not actually test it. And by the time you publish something, you lose a lot of impressions trying to fix the thumbnail. So what if I told you there is something special, but something more special? My friend made a software that actually lets you test your thumbnails. And surprisingly, it gives pretty close results to YouTube's A/B testing inside the YouTube studio. It's still new, so obviously, the more users we get, the better it will become. If you'd like to access it alongside other stuff like thumbnail templates and systems that will help you grow your YouTube brand for business and personalized one-on-one access to me for free, you can simply join my private community below. At this point, I'm only accepting a certain amount of people, 20. So yeah, if you're watching this in the future, you can always check if I increase the amount of people allowed to get in. Third level is about the content itself. So I'll share a story of mine. You might have a great idea that nobody has made yet in your space, but it didn't get what you expected. Let me tell my own experience. Based on my own experience, over a year ago, I made a documentary video about a person inspired by this video by the channel called Neo. For those who question why I don't want to show it, it's simply because I don't want to associate myself with that product anymore. After switching to making educational content over 3 years ago, I guess, in my niche, up until that point, had made I'd say the exact same framing of the video or the video. It's more nuanced than that. I even hired a video editor to help me finish it at the right time to catch a specific trend. The video ended up flopping in my eyes. It had decent numbers, but it was a bad feeling, honestly. I tried to revive it over and over, but nothing was working. The video had great quality, good scripting, and the whole idea has never been experimented within the niche. Sure, there were problems with it, like any video, for example, that was the first video I made in English, and I was myself shocked at the way I spoke that way, because that's not usually how I speak in English outside of making videos. It kind of like was a mix of tight deadline and decent storytelling creativity with a banger idea format nobody was adapting. My theory behind that is that although it was good, it didn't hit the expectation level. Like, who is this kid talking about this guy? And I also think people were more inclined to the opinion of someone against our, let's say prospect. I tried to make the video in kind of like a middle ground position, kind of trying to be in the middle of the situation, because I noticed in the comments a lot of kind of few people started asking me about my exact opinion. What do I think? And I think if I lean more on the side of, this guy is a, bad guy, also with the framing of the thumbnail, kind of like being a CIA detective board, it would have gone, I think, more results. But I think it's actually good that it didn't get more results, because at the end, I don't want to associate myself with that anymore. This happens to a lot of us. We think we did something great, but in the end, it's the audience who judges. The value is subjective. That said, the content itself should be good. If you use an outlier format and the video is average to the audience's expectation, then it's not really going to work. That's why focusing on the fundamentals first is the real solution. to the root cause of the problem. It's never been easier to adapt to outlier formats. What you should focus on is solving the problems no one in your space is solving, but has a demand likely. All these tools and techniques and advice available be used to frame those ideas. You probably liked how this video dissected your problems and how it also gave you solutions. If you like actionable systems to give your YouTube brand a strong foundation alongside being in a space with other educational entrepreneurs, then you can check the first link in the description. Meanwhile, if you'd also like to keep people watching your videos longer or learn how to script better, I highly suggest you click the video in front of you right now to learn about the 5 systems you can use to do so. Thanks for your time and attention.